Hello students, this is Mrs. Miller, and the purpose of this video is to share with you my thinking as I complete question 1 from our passage entitled Save It for the Finish. First, I'm going to read the question. It says, why is Charlie uninterested in the bicycle race? When and why does he begin to show interest? Support your answer with details from the story. Wow, right away I'm seeing that this question is really 3 questions in one. I have to say why. I'm going to go ahead and code the text, decode the question the way that Mrs. Stanley has taught us to do in language arts. Why? Charlie uninterested, bicycle race. When? Why? Begin, show interest. And then, of course, we know that we need to support our answer with details from the text. Support, answer, details, story. Okay, here we go. Now, since there are 3 questions in one, and I only have 6 lines, I'm going to shorten up my yes ma'am response that I typically do, okay? I'm going to start off with, according to the text, Charlie is uninterested in the bicycle race because he would rather be watching baseball. That's all I'm going to put in response to that first question, and by writing my response that way, I'm restating the question and I'm taking my details from the story and I'm putting them right there in my answer since this question is so long, okay? So please go ahead and write this with me. According to the text. And something else I'm doing is I'm making sure that I don't write too big. If I write too big, I'm going to run out of room. And you can see that I'm not allowed to write here and I'm not allowed to write here. So I need to keep my answer here. According to the text, Charlie is uninterested in the race because he would rather watch baseball. Okay, that is my response to that first question. I went ahead and started with according to the text and I restated the question. My detail from the text is right here. That's what the story told me. Specifically, he said that he would rather be watching baseball. When and why does he begin to show interest? Well, let's answer the when first. Charlie, the text shows that Charlie begins to show interest and I can just flip back and see. It says right here, he sits up and take notice. He begins to show interest when Major has odd behavior during the race. The text shows that Charlie begins to show interest when Major falls behind the other racers. That's what was explained here. He fell further and further behind, and that is when Charlie sat up and took notice. So that's when Charlie begins to take interest. Again, I'm ending up using 3 details from the text, a detail from here, a detail here, and a detail for this one. So I'm including my details right in my answer this time. According to the text, Charlie is uninterested in the race because he would rather watch baseball. I've answered the first question. When does he begin to show interest? The text shows that Charlie begins to show interest when Major falls behind the others. But why does he begin to show interest? Why does this make him show interest? Well, let's go back and look and see. um, it makes him show interest because his cousin had expected Major to be winning, okay? And Charlie was able to think and realize that he was using strategy. Charlie begins to show interest because Major was expected to win. But was in last place. Okay. According to the text, Charlie is uninterested in the race because he would rather watch baseball. The text shows that Charlie begins to show interest when Major falls behind the other racers. Charlie begins to show interest because Major was expected to win but was in last place. Okay, I'm also going to leave, that's all I'm going to put for this response. I've used up my lines and I answered each of these questions with something specific from the story. Okay? All right. If you missed number one or lost points on number one, you need to make sure that you redo this one. You can rewind the video and do it with me. Let me tell you what our biggest mistakes were with question number one. Many of us only answered why Charlie was uninterested in the bicycle race. So be careful when you see a question like this. If there's more than one part, you must answer all parts of the question. Something else that we did was some of us just got this part of the answer wrong. Now, even if you got everything else right, the details, the when and the why, if you miss one part of the question, like you put the wrong answer, then you get 0 points. Okay, remember, each of these are worth 2 points. Some of you thought that Charlie was uninterested in the bicycle race because his cousin was bossy. The details specifically tell us that he would wished he was back in Boston watching his baseball team. Now, sure, his cousin was bossy, but he was uninterested in the race because he wanted to watch baseball. Okay? Okay, when the question asks when, make sure that you include that in that part of your response. And if a question asks why, make sure you include the word because in your response, okay? Okay, that's it for number one.